What up, though? Welcome to the Court of Opinion podcast. This is the third and final installment of this Drake versus UMG complaint breakdown. Yeah. Uh, I told myself, like, when I got ready to start this third installment, that I wanted to go back and say one more thing about the paragraph within this complaint that brought up Drake's Jewish heritage. What you will find with lawyers, and this can become particularly dangerous when a lawyer is a prosecutor, is that I don't know if we learn this in law school. I don't know if we learn this as a part of American society, but we have this thing where we want to win, and we can, not everyone, but most of us have brainstorming sessions, whether that's with yourself, whether that's with colleagues or what have you. And we try to figure out, okay, what claims can we bring? And sometimes that will present itself in the world with as these words like, oh, what case can I make? Right. And that's the question that is asked often in American jurisprudence. And when I say jurisprudence, that basically just means the American legal system. Since it is adversarial, what happens is we gamify it in a way where instead of alleging claims or seeking to prosecute crimes that happened, we're trying to pursue claims or prosecute crimes that we think we could obtain a guilty verdict upon, and not thinking like, well, is that really what this person did? is that really what they did? Or is this what the facts suggest? And because of my skill as a litigator, I can convince the trier of fact, jury, judge, what have you, that this is what happened. And I prefer legal systems where we're working to find the truth. And do not get me wrong, there are many prosecutors, I think the overwhelming majority, who are not out there just trying to make a case. But at the same time, there are a number of prosecutors, there are a number of attorneys who are just trying to make a case and the truth be damned. And that's very dangerous to me. And in this situation, I don't know who put this out here. It could have been a situation where the attorneys read what had been said and is like, hey, I think we could allege a claim for something that suggests that, well, it's not, I take that back. It's not a claim. It's not a claim, because what we're in regards to that particular, and you know what, now I need to go back to that one particular thing. I'm going to search within this document, and I want to find Jewish. It's mentioned 5 times. Okay. So I want to read it because I don't want to get it wrong. Furthering the recording reframe that Drake is not like us, the recording alludes to Drake's Jewish heritage, saying that Drake is not a colleague, but a fucking colonizer. Okay. One, I have not known people to allege that about Jews. I have about people of the Jewish faith. I have not heard that shit. Well, unless we're talking about Gaza, but that's an Israeli thing. So, so that's not necessarily a Jewish thing. That's an Israeli thing. So, okay. But whatever the case, listening to Not Like Us, that's not what I thought. What I thought he was alleging to is that Drake was colonizing like white people did, where because of where he is from, right? from Canada, you're going to these different places, and instead of being Canadian, you're taking from these different places, whether we're talking about Atlanta, whether we're talking about Texas, whether we're talking about Memphis, whether we're talking about New Orleans. That's what I took from it. But in a brainstorming session with attorneys, this idea could come out, right? And like, oh, and because I just I would find it hard to believe that Drake said to his attorneys, yo, he coming at me because I'm Jewish. I don't know Drake. He could, but I don't see that. Now, do I see could I see his attorneys suggesting it? Because you're reading the lyrics, and then you say to yourself, like, oh yeah. Because I know I don't been there. I don't been there where you're drafting, you're like, oh, that could be a claim, or we could say that, or we could say that. Because now I don't think this is a claim. Now, one thing that I'm finding as I go through here, I'm waiting to see a definitive or a delineation between, oh, we're saying what happened, and these are the claims, and this is how the facts support the elements of that claim. And I have not seen that yet. I assume that it's coming. If it's not, I will have some commentary about that. However, this is where we are. So getting back to my point, it's not the Jewish heritage remark isn't presented as a claim per se. And so now we're in the court of public opinion, where it seems like this is thrown in to shit on, to try to brand Kendrick Lamar as anti-Semitic. To me, that's what I take from this, because I don't see where this is even necessary or germane to the issue, but it's there. And that's and this is, to me, things that, and I said this in the previous pod, like, hey, black attorney tells Drake don't do this. That's black attorney tells him, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And so whether he came up with it or his attorneys came up with it, Drake didn't say pull it out. He didn't. He did. And I'm not saying that stupid ass pause because it's sexual. It could be sexual, but I'm not doing that shit. So he didn't tell them, no, don't say that. And that's assuming he read this complaint or what have you. I do not know. But my point is, as attorneys, we do this type of shit all the time, where we take things from our brainstorming session, we put it into the complaint, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't. And like I said, especially when it comes to prosecutors, I would prefer if we had a less adversarial system where we were all actually looking for the truth. And when I read this, I don't get that impression from this line that's what we're looking for. And it's not, like I said, it's not necessary for the complaint. So, all right, I'm going to scroll back down, getting to where we left off, because I cut this joint in half, and I'm hoping this next half goes way quicker than that first half, because I'm on page 40 right now, and I suspect, okay, no, I must have been on 41. Yeah, 41. Yeah, it's 41. Okay, so here we are. It's C, paragraph 114. This is the line from C, okay? UMG granted licenses to promote the defamatory material. Now that's important, because as what you want to say is, not only did they release this, not only were they a part of this, but they gave others permission to promote this defamatory material. So that being the case, you can impugn the actions of others to them in order to justify liability. Okay, UMG also used its global publishing division. See, now we're bringing in that division into the complaint, and they're culpable too. Now, you may say, well, what does it matter? They own it all. Yes, but when you have a certain amount, no, it's not even a certain amount of money. When you want to protect yourself from liability, what you do, especially in entertainment, is you silo assets. So if you get sued as UMG Music Group, Universal Music Group, right? If your publishing is in a separate company, right? All those assets are protected. I remember, I don't know if he still does this, or if it was even true, but I remember reading that someone alleged that Puffy had a lot of assets in his mother's name. Now, I don't know if that's still the case or what have you. I suspect that was for liability purposes, to silo liability to other other entities to protect it. There's a show called Upload, and I don't want to give away anything. So if you haven't watched it, it's on Prime. But in that show, there is a lawsuit against a company, and they changed their name to another company name. And they say in this commercial, and it's by Greg Daniels, so it's a little, I'm not going to, I guess you would call it tongue in cheek. They say, don't, what they say, company, because I don't even want to use the names, because I don't like to fuck up shows for people. So they say, Company A is still here. We've just moved all our assets to Company B, but and all our liabilities are now in Company A. Now, that's not what you would say, but that's what people do. So this particular paragraph helps to bring, if you're the plaintiff, Drake, this is now opening up every entity of UMG that had any part in this to liability, because you're about to substantiate it in the complaint. You can amend it later, like say UMG has another division, a secret division that Drake doesn't even know about, that has something to do with this. They can amend the complaint, add them too. But this portion of the complaint is important because it is impugning liability across UMG, at least to the publishing division, I suspect, as the complaint goes on, or even if it's amended, that they're going to impugn that shit everywhere. So UMG also used its global publishing division, UMPG, to license the defamatory material for broader use and consumption. Since the recording's release, UMG has listed the recording on its website for licensing on television and film. So that's letting you know they know this is defaming my client. This is what's being alleged. They don't give a shit. They got television. Well, they didn't say streaming licensing for, I would have put that. I would have put website for licensing on television, streaming, and film and other content. I would have been more inclusive. I would have been more inclusive, because what you don't want to do in a complaint is have to go back and amend too much, because you may not get lucky. I remember I was in court once and I had a right to amend the complaint, and the judge, was like, nah, I'm not letting you do it. Now, we could do it interlocutory appeal. Clearly we didn't, so the client didn't want to or what have you, but that happens sometimes. So you don't want to assume like, oh, it's all gonna be Gucci. I'm gonna just be able to do this. So I would put that in now. On the UMPG website, third parties seeking to license songs for audio-visual publications can filter by genre, chart-topping songs, and theme playlists. UMPG markets the recording as having a winning/achievement lyrical theme. And then they show Not Like Us in the category or what have you. So, this is just saying like, oh, they telling you how to use it too. And it's about victory. Now, given that this complaint is talking about, we trying to bury Drake. All right. That is more fodder to add in your opening if you actually make it to court, in your closing, if the trial goes all the way through without settlement. And those sorts of things may land with the juror, where they're like, yeah, they do say, yeah, this is in the winning category. We up. Maybe they work. You never know. So that's some good pleading right there. UMG further promotes the recording for licensing by listing its success on music charts. Well, of course they would. Why wouldn't they? For example, on UMPG's website, a third party could search for songs in the Hot 100 singles. Okay, that's cool. UMG also curates theme playlists on UMPG's website for marketing purposes. The recording is currently featured on the Winner's Circle playlist with 26 other songs that can be licensed. They should promote it, but again, we get to that theme of a winner. And so we could say, you know, if I'm Drake's attorney, I could be like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They're trying to stick it to him. Right. I can say that in the opening and closing opening. I can say I'm going to prove it because I know I can at least show that they're like, yeah, we up, we winning. As a result of its marketing efforts, UMG has repeatedly licensed the recording to be performed publicly and published on other platforms. For example, on June 19th, 2024, the recording was performed 5 times in a row at a concert in Inglewood, California, to a crowd of approximately 16,000 attendees, and a live stream of over 186,000 viewers on Amazon's Prime Video and Twitch. The live stream broke Amazon Music streaming record for the most minutes watched of any Amazon Music production ever across Prime Video and Twitch. I have comments on this, but I'm going to go through this and then get to the comments. In the 3 days that following the concert, Kendrick Lamar received nearly 61 million combined official on-demand US streams. The recording represented approximately 21 million of those combined streams, a 62% increase from the 3-day period preceding the concert. This republication on June 19th, 2024, and its subsequent republication on streaming platforms reached more than 21 million people and could not have occurred without UMG's explicit permission. Yes and no. Yes and no. UMG could have stopped it, but if you have so this is how it works. If you have a performance license as the venue, right? You have blanket licenses. Now, unless someone contacts you get these licenses from the performing rights organizations. I think is ASCAP, BMI, maybe CSAC, maybe one other, but I think that might be it. And you pay for it, and so basically these organizations will collect whatever royalties are due for people performing the songs or what have you. Typically, you pay for the license, right? And as you pay for the license, and then you can have people come in to perform. Can you stop someone from performing? Yes. It is not easy because, one, if I've paid for the contract, right? This is going to get too technical. I can't do it. I'm going to have to do that on Patreon. But needless to say, UMG can't just stop it, right? They can't just stop it. It can happen, but it's not as easy as it is alleged here. UMG subsequently made the live performance of the recording available to be played on the radio, and radio stations played it. Now, this is true. Now, as far as the performance on radio stations and where it went after the performance, UMG has a bit more control over that. You know, it's just like pulling stuff from TikTok. So let's get back to it. UMG also leveraged its existing licensing agreements with TikTok and Meta to make the recording and video available to users on those platforms. That's what I was just talking about. Okay. Yes, they did that. As of the date of this filing, the recording has been used in over 1.3 million videos on TikTok. More than 100 TikToks using the recording have been viewed at least 2 million times each, with many being viewed tens of millions of times. In total, 125 popular TikToks have been viewed over 1 billion times. And as of the date of this filing, the recording has been used in over 616,000 reels on Instagram. UMG also granted licenses for the recording to be played at sporting events. And that's what I was talking about with the performance licenses and what have you, award shows and political rallies. The recording and see, that's a tough one. I want to get to it now. I can't, but because because I got to delve into too many things, but it is, I'm going to just say this as a conclusory statement. It's tough to pull things. It's tough to pull things. The recording has been played and broadcast on television during coverage of games for the MLB, NBA, and WNBA. The recording also played during the July 2024 ESPY Awards, an annual award ceremony that honors the top athletes and sports performances of the year. Now, let me say this. It was getting a lot of play. I remember at one point, LeBron, what I think I heard him say was like, damn, they ain't got no other songs. They got to keep playing this song. And I think I remember Steph saying, I like it. I like it. I do feel you. It's, if it wasn't, even if it wasn't about Drake, right? You don't have to dislike Drake to not like us. It does go. It's a nice song. When I first heard it, I was like, okay, it's cool. It's cool. But when you hear it like maybe that third time, you like, if you're not liking it, you like, that's slap. He got one. He got one. That shit right there, that's kind of hot. But it didn't have to be. If Kendrick just released that one, it would have been big. So I could see Steph being like, man, I like it. Yeah, you want to hit? I get it. Okay, so during a July 20th, 24 campaign rally for Vice President Kamala Harris in Atlanta, Georgia, the DJ played the recording to the live crowd. Video footage showing the crowd singing along to the lyrics, certified loader. Is this gonna happen? Wait, a DJ play? But if a DJ play it, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is with the performance licenses. Unless you pull it off like, hey, nobody play it, you don't know who's gonna play it. So this isn't fair. Let me see what they said though. The crowd singing along to the lyrics. Certified lover boy, certified pedophiles, and trying to strike a chord, and it's probably a minor. I will always think that. That was probably the first part of the song where I was like, oh, I kind of like that. Quickly went viral on social media. Of course, because let's be fucking honest. When we at Kamala's rally, we know Trump and them, they not like us. And when we say they not like us, we don't mean in no good motherfucking way. What Bernie Mac say? What Bernie Mac say on Kanye's old album? I think it was Graduation? It was one of them. Bernie Mac said, use a nigga. Use a nigga. And I don't mean that in no good way. When we say you not like us, we don't mean that in no good way. And so if the other side, I'm on the tangent. I'm going to get right back. It ain't going to take long. If, the other side is like, yeah, y'all not like us. Good, motherfucker. No, you don't get to say that to us. You know why? You know why? Because you ain't about the same shit we about. And we about some good shit in a good way. You on some bullshit. You on that racist shit, that sexist. You on some sex. And see, I'm looking off because I'm looking at him. And I'm looking at a motherfucker right now. I see him. Anyway, certified lover boy, certified pedophiles. But at Kamala, come on. That's the theme of Kamala's campaign. It's a reason that, 92%? Wait. It's probably, I think it's close. It's 90 to 92% of black people voted for Kamala. I think it's between, I've heard some people say 78, some people say 86% of black men. DL Hughley said 86%. I'm going to trust DL. I am. And I've heard with black women, 90%. Fuck that. 92% of black women. That's what I'm going with. And until we can prove them lower numbers, I'm going with the higher numbers. Because I know my people and how we roll. So that being said, at the Kamala rally, really, we about to put this in here. This is what I'm saying too. This was not my point. I just stumbled upon some shit. This is some more not like us shit. Kamala's name should not be in this shit. So if I'm there, what I'm saying is take the take that Jewish shit out. No, take that out. that thing about it being at at Kamala's rally, take that shit out. That's what I'm gonna say. Take it out, because you don't even need that. Not to prove your point. The first part you really don't need with the Jewish thing, but you damn sure do not need it when it comes to with the Jewish thing, and you don't need it when it comes to Kamala. Take it out. Take it out. The recording also played during the highly anticipated roll call vote for president during the Democratic National Convention. That one, maybe you could leave in. Maybe you could leave that one in. I might be okay with that. But because when we're talking about this rally in the Certified Love Voice or in the DJ Planet, now you're talking about us, nigga. That's how I see it. Because maybe at the Democratic Convention, that ain't all us. That's us and that's us plus. That's what that is. That is us plus, plus the allies and shit. At the Kamala rally in Atlanta, nigga, that's us. You know better. Why y'all? So leave the Democratic one in, take the other one out. The recording also played, we already covered that. Oh, wait. The recording blared in the United Center as California's governor Gavin Newsom cast the state's delegates. We know why it played. Gavin is from Cali. Kendrick made a song that's got a West Coast beat, and it's produced by DJ Mustard. That's Oakland. Nigga, what? That's not even that. Why is that there? I was about to say, okay, with Gavin, you can leave. Why is that there? That does not need to be there. The convention was reportedly viewed by approximately 20 million people across 12 television networks. Okay. The recording also became the postseason anthem for the Los Angeles Dodgers. We talking about LA again, but that's cool. It's the Dodgers. I get it. Playoff run, eventually 2024 World Series victory. The Dodgers had featured the recording in a hype video posted to their official YouTube page. I know, I will say this. Every time that song came up and did something, I don't know, but from reading this, I get the impression that Drake has been, damn, what did I call them? I had a name for these attorneys. Damn, I don't forgot the name. I'm not about to scroll up, but I had a nice name for them because they're a nice team. I like a lot about this complaint, but I got a feeling that every time this song played or did anything, Drake was on the phone. Like, this shit. That's what I would imagine. And if he wasn't on the phone, he was talking to somebody. Man, reading this, I'm like, damn, this nigga can't escape this song. Lamar is set to headline the Apple Music Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans on February 9th, 2025. Well, that shit don't already happen. It done played. I told y'all it would. They bleeped out pedophile. I didn't realize that the pedophile was bleeped out with a kid screaming or something like that. It's what I heard. I don't know if that's true, but that's fucked up. It's fucked up. And hilarious. That's almost worse than saying it, because the crowd said the shit anyway. So if the plan was to file this to get Kendrick to stop, that shit failed. But I could have told you that was going to fail. I could have told you that. If he called any attorney, they'd be like, man, go ahead, dog, do your shit. Sing your song. That's what I would say. Go ahead, sing your shit, dog. It's all on you at this point. Go ahead, do your thing. They can't stop you. Because what, they go get more damages? And you ain't even being sued. So this is between Drake and UMG. I perform it at the Super Bowl, perform it in the shower, perform it at the car wash, perform that shit in Ralph's, perform it at the Grove. You can perform that shit wherever you want to perform it. UMG made covert payments to third parties to deceive consumers. Hold up. When they done, hold up. Wait. Now we talking about some shit. And this is the shit that I'm interested in right here, because I have had thoughts, musings, wonderings on Spotify and any music platform that is receiving payment for some type of deal involving play that everyone is not privy to. Because see, when it comes to radio stations, Payola simply in its simplest form is paying for play. I'm paying you to play the song. We're in this situation now with streaming where we're in this situation where if you can get your song on a certain playlist, that shit will go, right? If you are receiving money to put my song on a playlist on your platform, that to me sounds remarkably similar or without difference from Payola. That's how I see it. Now, and this is why the podcast is called The Court of Public Opinion, because you got the law, right? Then you got the interpretation of the law within the public, where it's like, if ain't nobody enforcing it or whatever, then that's the real law. If the opinion is of everybody like, hey, ain't nothing wrong with that shit. It's cool. It's copacetic. It's cool. Then that's the real law, right? Okay. UMG calls third parties. Oh, whoa. UMG made covert payments to third parties to deceive consumers. In addition to publishing, marketing, and licensing the defamatory material on information and belief, UMG also put a thumb on the scale by providing covert financial incentives to third parties to further spread lies against Drake. I love this and hate it at the same time. And let me tell you why. I think whoever wrote this particular paragraph of the complaint was in the flow of brilliance. I love the use of, they also put a thumb on the scale. The only problem is, for me, in saying that, it suggests that there was some type of competition here, right? It suggests that if they put a thumb on the scale it had to be for someone, right? And I'm not sure what the fuck that is supposed to mean, right? Because now if you say they put a thumb on the scale, that's what it is. If they say you put a thumb on the scale, I'm like, so is this really about him losing the rap battle? Is that really what's going on here? Or is this about the defamatory material and its spread? Because then you get into this thing where as you're going to have to argue, well, no, we're not talking about that. What we're talking about is they put a thumb on the scale so that this didn't just spread naturally. They made it spread everywhere. If it had just spread naturally, would you say that they shouldn't be liable? Like if they just put it out and the shit just went? And if they say, I'm reluctant to say yes to that, because then if I'm on the other side, I'm going to argue, well, it's a distinction without a difference, where I would say UMG didn't have to do this. It still would have went. And we can't say it went because they did this. So now I got to prove that it went because they did this, rather than I want to be in a situation, like I said, I want to be in the defamation per se situation. It's defamatory on its face because it's saying that he's doing something that is of low moral character, a felony, or what have you. That's where I want to really concentrate. I don't want to have to prove shit beyond they did it. And I worry like that one little phrase to me can kind of nudge it into, now I got to prove some shit. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not damning where it's like, oh, the whole complaint is going to fall apart. No, I'm just saying I look for these little things. But at the same time, it's some hell of a drafting. The only problem is it's not something that I think, it's something that can help, but it's something that can hurt. And typically when I have something that can help and hurt and I can't predict it, I may not put it in, or I'll find something else to say. But maybe they clean it up as we go along in the complaint. UMG calls third parties to fake streams. All right. Okay. This is interesting. Let's see what happened here. UMG, directly or through its agents, conspired with and pay currently unknown parties to use bots to artificially inflate the spread of the recording on Spotify. Bots are software programs designed to mimic human behavior to appear to be real social media accounts. One individual whose identity is unknown to plaintiff revealed publicly on a popular podcast that Kendrick Lamar's label Interscope paid him via third parties to use bots to achieve 30 million streams on Spotify in the initial days following the recording's release, with the goal of jumpstarting its spread and turning it into a crazy hit on the platform. UMG's desired fuck. The thing about this that I like, if you're Drake's attorney, is that it occurred within the initial days where maybe UMG hadn't heard the song before. And they heard it and it was like, oh, this is bumping. This is a hit. Yeah. But I'm like, in that whole battle, Drake ain't have no hits. Drake ain't have nothing that could go. Now, if I think back, I don't think there was anything Drake released that would go like Not Like Us. I don't think so. But they didn't push it. Who is that? On Joe Budden, I think they say that a lot. Like, push a button. They ain't pushed the button on none of Drake's songs, allegedly. We don't know. It's a possibility they did this as well for Drake's stuff. It's a possibility that his stuff where he, this is to Kendrick Lamar. We don't know. I have to look at their reply. UMG probably wants to stay clear of this totally. I do not want to stay clear of this totally. Hold up one moment. I got to look some shit up. Okay, Michael Smith. All right. So I am talking about, the reason that I care about this is because at this moment, I believe I don't know if he's still in jail. I got to look him up. But there's a guy, what's his name? Michael Smith, Michael Smith. Yeah. Allegedly, and this is from the Justice Department's website. Michael Smith allegedly produced hundreds of thousands of songs with artificial intelligence and utilized automatic features to repeatedly stream the music to generate unlawful royalties to the tune of $10 million. The defendant's alleged scheme played upon the integrity of the music industry by a concerted attempt to circumvent the streaming platform's policies. Okay, what the fuck is the difference between what he did and what UMG did? If assuming that they did this, because 30 million streams, did Spotify pay out for those streams? Did they not? Did they tell Spotify? Because my thing is this, you don't get to decide who gets to use bots and who don't get to use bots. Now, either your policy is no bots or your policy is bot away, bot it up. But so, and that's one reason why when a lot of people hit me, it's like, man, what is Drake doing? One person hit me for some reason. They are convinced that Drake is my boy. I do not get this, but they were like, what is Drake doing? What is Drake doing? I was like, to be fair, I like this part of the lawsuit because I am curious to know this shit. I don't like this because if I am very big on fairness, let's be fair. And one thing that I remember is Chuck D from Public Enemy was very much a proponent of MP3s and was looking forward to this day where we could get music straight from the artist to the consumers, and now you take your music, put it up, boom, it's there. But we still got this type of funny business and shit going on, manipulating numbers and all this type of stuff. And watching, was it Joe Budden's podcast? They said something about, I think it was Travis Scott's last album when the numbers, I can't remember who. So you gotta go find it. The numbers seemed a little high for that particular release. And then next thing you know, it was a precipitous drop. I'm asking the question, was it a precipitous drop because people wasn't feeling it no more? Or was it a precipitous drop because this type of shit was going on? No, wait. I got a point because I don't think you can see my laptop. This type of shit was going on. Don't know, but I don't like it because you got a dude sitting up in jail for making his AI music and having bots stream it. But you allegedly, if UMG did this, they're not experiencing that. Instead, what you got is they getting Grammys and shit. they making bank. UMG's desire to jumpstart the recording's popularity is unsurprising because streams beget. I love that. I don't know which of y'all use that. More streams. Songs identified as top streamers land on most popular lists and playlists, which leads to more streams and therefore more licensing requests, more purchases, more partnerships, and ultimately more money for UMG. Master. This paragraph, this one paragraph 127, that paragraph goes hard. I like that right there. That's nice. The whistleblower they're describing the person as a whistleblower. Okay, I'll see. That's nice right there. That's nice because now we all know that when you say a whistleblower, then it's like, oh, this is salacious. This dude, because I think it was a guy. This dude done came out and he blowing the whistle on this. We're uncovering something here, which is not untrue. If this is true, if what is alleged here is true, we are uncovering some shit. Okay, the whistleblower describes Spotify as the easiest platform to bot because it does not, like other platforms, have certain security measures when it comes to bot protection. What? So now, now what we're getting into is conspiracy. Because if you could allege, I'm surprised it's not a RICO. This could have been a RICO. If I would have drafted this, I might have thrown in some civil RICO. Yeah, I might have put in civil RICO in this joint. That's a whole nother thing. I will talk about. I got so many things to talk about on another podcast. I'm gonna have to go back, have these words pulled out. But yeah. Shouts out to Riverside because I can just pull stuff out and say like, okay, I gotta talk about this, gotta talk about that. I will get to that. But anyway, the whistleblower further revealed that on May 6, 2024, an individual affiliated with Interscope sent him a payment of $2,500 via the digital payment platform Zelle, and that he was promised another $2,500 and a percentage of the recording's total sales for the initial push. I'm sorry, what? And that's all it costs? $5,000? But they did also offer him, a percentage of the recording total sales for the initial push. I don't know how they define that. Like, what is the period of the initial push? So that is quite interesting. I would be curious as to, because I know if this goes to trial, whoever this is going to be called as a witness. Whether it is true or not, somebody's calling this person as a witness. Fake streams are a well-known problem across the music industry. In 2023, the Financial Times reported that experts estimated that as much as 10% of all music streams are fake or derived from bots and streaming farms where devices run services like Spotify and other streaming platforms on loop. I believe that. That being said, if Spotify knows about this from UMG, if they're complicit in this, why is it that certain people are being prosecuted and others aren't? If Spotify knows about this, if they're complicit, why do we even act like it is a problem for the music industry in regards to the fake streams? Why the subterfuge? Why the lies? If they're fine with UMG doing this, then what are we talking about? Then Payola now is legal. If that's what if they know, if it's found that Spotify knows about this, right? Then Payola is legal. That's really, at least according to at least according to what the court of public opinion, it would be legal. Others participated. Wait, I want to do the full sentence. Universal Music, Spotify, and Apple Music. I think this is why Spotify hits me harder. It's because the hacker has alleged that, theirs is the easiest because they don't have these measures. Well, they don't have those measures because they don't want to have them, is what I would suspect, right? If you want to stop the bots or at least make your platform competitive with like Apple or what have you, then you would institute these measures. You don't want them because you don't want to have them. And why would you not want to have them? If it's because shit like this is going on, then we got a conspiracy. Fake streams are no. 10%. Universal Music, Spotify, and Apple Music, among others, participated in a study at the request of the French Parliament, which found that 1 billion and 3 billion fake streams took place on popular music platforms in 2021. Oftentimes, we have to, what I can say about the EU, at least when it comes to big business, the EU and a lot of the European countries are the ones that are policing companies that are not being policed by North America. And I like this because we need some type of check. So I'm glad that the French Parliament is like, look, hold up, let us see what's going on. And because if they had refused the French Parliament, it was going to be a hard go. Well, it's going to be tough go for Universal Music, Spotify, and Apple Music. Publicly, Spotify has stated that it is aware of the issues of bots on its platform and is actively working to address it. I do not believe that. In response to Drake's pre-litigation filing in New York State Court, Spotify explained that it invests heavily in automated and manual reviews to prevent and detect and mitigate the impact of artificial streaming on its platform. I do not believe that. And I think if this lawsuit continues through its ultimate termination via a judgment of some sort, whether that's jury, I think this would be a jury because I think they chose a jury trial, then I think these, what I call them, not allegations, I think these statements on behalf of Spotify will be proven utterly false. That's if this goes all the way through. UMG offered undisclosed financial incentives to promote the recording. On information and belief, UMG also offered financial incentives, including direct payments and reduced licensing rates to various third parties to promote the recording. These financial benefits were never disclosed to consumers. That is important because people would like to know. People would have liked to know at that point that what I'm seeing, I am seeing in part because it is a very good song. I'm seeing it because of that, but I'm also seeing it because somebody is paying for this to stream here. I would like to have known that. These financial benefits were never disclosed to consumers, according to confidential sources recently made known to Drake. Certain UMG labels have engaged in pay-for-play arrangements with radio and streaming services to boost the popularity of specific songs and use bots to artificially inflate streaming numbers. Now, this brings me back to that whole Bill Clinton thing, where I wonder, is this new or did this also happen in regards to your song? When Drake had the song Back to Back, which was a dope-ass song, diss record against Meek Mill. Did this happen for Drake then? Is that how he knows? Outside of whoever came forward, is that how he knows? Did this happen for him? And was he a part of it? So, in going forward, if I'm UMG and I know, I'm like, we did it for you and you know it. It puts us in a very bad position in that they got way more to lose than Drake. I was about to say, why would they put this in? But they do got way more to lose than Drake because all their artists come into question if for some reason this is pursued in a criminal context or if other people decide they want to sue on the label, like, I'm not getting the same love, you're doing it, whatever the case, huh? Yeah, because I wonder, could an artist sue if the label is paying illegally for somebody? It depends. Oh, that's an interesting case, because I would have to make a case that I'm competing against them and you're using maybe unfair competition, something like that. Depends on the. Ooh, that's a good one. Whatever the case, in regards to Drake, Drake has a direct damage, because this was being used to promote a record that allegedly defames him and will have an impact on his career. And these tactics were allegedly being used against him. Very good drafting, like that paragraph a lot. Drake has also received information that UMG engaged in a classic pay-for-play scheme by paying to increase the airplay of the recording on radio. That's interesting. Now, with Spotify, you may have a gray area. That may fall into the court of public opinion. That shit don't hold up with radio. Radio pay-for-play is clear. There's no dispute. There's no gray area. There's no, maybe that wasn't. No. If he can prove this, depending on if, some district attorney wants some easy pickings or what have you, that's a prosecutable offense. It is. And it's also something that, if you're doing pay for play, I want to get out of the defamation. I want to get out of that to other claims he may have. If we're talking about competing businesses, and if one business does something that is an illegal tactic, there are a number of claims that can be alleged as a result of that. I do have a question. Is UMG publicly traded? Yes. Okay. Now that's interesting too, because, wait. UMG is traded on the Euronext Amsterdam Stock Exchange. Major shareholders Vivendi initially, Tencent, and Pershing Square Holdings. Okay, it's not on the U.S. Stock Exchange. Okay, that's good to know, because I was thinking like the SEC might be interested in this type of matter, but given that it's not traded publicly, I am not sure if SEC would have any interest in this, or even jurisdiction. I'm not really sure about that, but that's not to say that the Euronext might or the EU might. I don't know. Given that they have discussed this previously, and that they had companies help them determine how many streams are fake, they may. So where are we now? Okay. Specifically, Drake has received information that at least one member of UMG's radio promotion team made payments to an independent radio promoter who agreed to transfer those payments, because you can use independent radio promoters. Okay. But it's like, and this is not alleged in here. This is an example. Like, I'll give you 50,000 independent promoter, but I know your fee is 5,000. That other 40,000 needs to make it to the program manager or what have you. Those payments to radio stations and or radio station employee. Wait, let me start that over. Specifically, Drake has received information that at least one member of UMG's radio promotion team made payments to an independent radio promoter who agreed to transfer those payments to radio stations and or radio station employees in exchange for those radio stations playing the recording. Oh, damn, that's a lot of radio stations. That's a lot of transferring. That money, if that money was paid with these instructions, that money's going to touch a lot of hands. On information and belief, this practice was more widespread than one member of the UMG radio promotion team. It probably, if there's going to be some person who falls, it's going to be one person. Like, if you remember back to 2008, and what happened with the mortgage crisis and people signing off on mortgages, I think it was one person prosecuted. some lowly mortgage broker. Bullshit, basically. I suspect the same thing will happen here. On information and belief, this practice was more widespread. Okay. Oh, here we go. This pay-to-play practice known as payola is prohibited by the Communications Act of 1934 and has been the subject of regulatory scrutiny by a number of executive agencies. And this is true. Yeah. In 2006, UMG agreed to pay $12 million in a settlement with the New York Attorney General following an investigation involving accusations that UMG executives had used a broad array of pay-for-play tactics to secure airplay for music. So this is good because it's like they did it before. This ain't new. They did this shit before in connection with UMG's settlement. And let me say this. Well, I don't want to lose the thought. Past behavior is an indicator of present behavior and an indicator of future behavior. It could be UMG learned his lesson. And I don't know if Lucien was in charge of UMG at that point. I'm not really sure. But if I'm arguing this, I'm like, culture is culture. They ain't changed. This is how they roll. But the question is, did they roll like this for Drake? And even if they did and he has culpable deniability, he's like, yeah, they did it for me, but I ain't defamed nobody. So it's like you decide to break the law. This is the argument I would make. You decide to break the law 2 times, right? And in doing so, breaking it the first time, you were breaking it trying to defame my client in the most heinous manner. It's not a bad argument. In connection with UMG's settlement, the then Attorney General explained consumers have a right not to be misled about the way in which the music they hear on radio is selected. This is true because we're hearing this and we're thinking, oh, we're hearing this because this is the best shit. No, you hearing it because we paid somebody to play it. That should be announced before the song is paid. Hey, we got the bag to play this song. And then I'm not going to listen to it. Now, I may still think like, oh, it may be maybe a good song. I might still think that because somebody was willing to pay for that song to be played to me. But I need to know. He continued, pay for play makes a mockery of claims that only the best, most popular music is broadcast. Separately, in 2025, UMG was sued by 2 radio promotion companies alleging fraudulent pay-for-play practices. It remains an open secret within the music industry that power players like UMG are continuing to engage in payola. In November 2024, New York radio DJ Funkmaster Flex released an alleged price list for payola on radio stations. $350,000 for pop radio, $250,000 for urban radio, $100,000 for a mix show, and $3,000 to $5,000 per song for local DJs. Other whistleblowers in that. Wait, did I just kept going like that wasn't a big deal? Assuming that that's true, I don't see why it's $100,000 less for urban, which is black radio stations. Because if we like some shit, we gonna make it go. Pop shit, it come and go. Not our shit. Let me stop. But interesting that Funkmaster Flex said this. What year was this? 2024. Funkmaster. Oh, okay, that was this year. All right. Yeah, I missed that one. So $3,000 to $5,000 per song per DJ. Now, so basically, I wonder if you break this down, if it's like I give you $250 and then the rest filters like, okay, I give you $250, right? Then you gotta pay, and I want it on a mix show. Do I gotta pay $100 for that too, or can you take that from the $250, get them the $100, and then pay all the local DJ? I don't know. I wonder how this, because it's $350 for what on pop radio, $250 for what on urban radio, $100,000 what I get for the mix show. That's a mix show. $100,000 they play the song. How long do they play? I'm just curious. Other whistleblowers in the music industry have similarly confirmed the use of widespread payola, with some claiming to have proof. On information and belief, UMG also provided financial incentives to streaming platforms to promote the recording. This is the weaker argument. And I like them using the stronger argument first and then throwing in the weaker argument. Because the stronger argument, if true, about the payola, that's the argument you want. The weaker argument is about the financial incentives, because that may not necessarily be classified as payola. The bots, which they put further up, that seems fucked up. That seems fucked up and deceptive. But if Spotify knows about the bots, I don't know. It seems like, is that reverse payola? Because is Spotify paying out for it, or is Spotify paying out for it? God damn, this shit gets confusing because there's so many claims that can be alleged. But this is the weaker this is the weaker argument, because saying like, oh, we will charge you less may not reach the payola threshold. I'm not sure. This is really a really gray area. Unless we go through this complaint and I see that they have included a actual statute or some type of case law that says like financial incentives have to be disclosed, I'm not sure. Because I've noticed, like, sometimes I see on Apple, some people have just their album cover right above the songs that are playing. But then some people, they got motion and shit. They got like people doing things, and a bunch of like, oh, that's nice type shit. Did they pay for that? Is that considered a financial incentive for Apple to promote it? Because whenever I see that, those artists are never buried somewhere on the Apple platform where it's like, oh, I gotta look for them. Motherfuckers is up top. So where are we? Okay. On information and belief, UMG charged Spotify lower than usual licensing rates for the recording in exchange for Spotify affirmatively recommending the recording to users who are searching for other unrelated songs and artists. Does that count as payola? It could. It's not as strong as the other ones, but it could. And I understand why they put it second. Third parties have documented strange recommendations in searches on Spotify. On July 3rd, 2024, a user posted a video on X of a man typing Eminem into Spotify search engine, and the recording appearing as a suggested search result. See, and this is what that takes it into that realm of like, yeah, this could be payola. Whenever you want to assert your strongest arguments first, anybody would know that. The reason why, sometimes people don't get to your second argument, right? So you want them to remember the first thing. Sometimes they don't even get to this whole damn complaint. So you want them to remember the first. That's why you put the strongest. And if you want to bury some shit, you put it in the middle. Because some people read the first and they read the last. The last is going to leave a lingering impression. This is just writing just shit that you should know, right? Okay, so the user captioned the post, "It doesn't matter what you search on Spotify, you'll see Not Like Us pop up." That is a motherfucking problem right there. I don't like that. I don't like UMG and Spotify having some type of, I don't like it if they have this type of relationship where they can do this. Because I would like, if you want to go in to discover music, right? I want to go in and discover some shit that may actually be related to Eminem. Like, what's that? Jordan Lucas. That should be a suggestion. So I get why they said in here, like, unrelated stuff. Jordan Lucas is a suggestion. Kendrick Lamar is not the suggestion if you typing in Eminem. I don't think. And I purposefully did not choose like a white artist like like Machine Gun Kelly or something like that, because I don't want to segment the music just based on race, but style. And Jordan Lucas has a style that reminds me of M. Spotify Spotify picked their side and their algorithm is proof. Other users describe similar experiences. That is a shot, and I like it. Or it's like they picked a side, because that to me suggests, when I put that there, it's like putting them on notice. We might come after your ass too. And my philosophy. Well, my philosophy will be in the book that I will release about such things like this. and then we will talk about that. But for now, yes, this is what you should do. Recommended songs, search results, and promoted playlists play a role in determining which music users will be exposed to and ultimately consume. This is true. Yep. An article discussing the harms of payola on music consumers describes that by including songs in suggested playlists, Spotify and other streaming services represent to the listening public that the song has been chosen because it is uniquely aligned to that listener's taste or the playlist mood. That the expert curator has judged a song to possess artistic excellence. That's so true. And the songs that aren't there don't possess it. That's the message that we get. Now, whether or not that's true is another question. But that's what we're being told. Like, oh, this is being curated because this is hot. This is the best. But in truth, if this is to be, and that's not to say that of all the songs released in that diss battle between Kendrick and Drake, of all the songs released, that's not to say that the other songs weren't good. It's not to say that Kendrick's song wasn't the best. What it is to say is that we were not told that somebody was paying in this manner or at all for that song to be everywhere. We weren't told that. And as they say here, we were told that this song was being placed on these playlists, that is appearing in these places because it's the best. It very well could be, but we weren't told that, oh no, it's here because we're paying for it to be here. On information and belief, UMG paid to use bots to stream the video. On information and belief, UMG employed a similar scheme by paying social media influencers to promote and endorse the recording and video. As just one example, plaintiff understands that UMG paid directly or indirectly the popular NFR podcast to promote the rate recording and video without disclosing payment. Now we're into, and I don't know if they're alleged, now we're into other issues, in that when you promote something on social media platforms, you're supposed to say, I'm being paid to promote this. Now, if there is a nuance to that, an exception, because an exception in regards to music, content, or what have you, all right, I don't know of it. I can look and see, but I don't know of it. Let's look and see. I'm going to ask chat. If I am promoting, if I am an influencer promoting a song, I was paid to do it. Oh, I got put out. I was promoting a song on Instagram. That's a good one. Instagram. I was paid to do it. Must I disclose this in my post? See what chat says. Yes, you must disclose this, that you were paid to promote the song on Instagram. FTC guidelines, paid partnership. That's what I thought. I did not think there was an exception. So, okay. Now, who's liable for failure to mention that you were paid? It depends. If UMG told them, don't say nothing, I think UMG would be liable, as well as the people who did it. As part of its deal with UMG, the NFR podcast publicly published podcast episodes, tweets, and other content about the recording. On information and belief, UMG conferred financial benefits to Apple Incorporated to have its voice-activated digital assistant Siri purposely misdirect users requesting other songs to instead stream the recording. What? See, I don't like that because now you're wasting my time. I don't want, if I come on Apple and I don't want to hear like not like us, I got to spend time telling it, no, no, play. What do I want to hear? What do I want to hear? Play something about Razzcats. Let's say I went and I wanted to hear something about Razzcats. Let's say that's what I wanted to hear. Or because I'm trying to remember what was out at that time. I can't remember. Shit I remember is that damn Not Like Us being out. But whatever. So online sources reported that when users asked Siri to play the album Certified Lover Boy by Drake, Siri instead played the recording. Now, this is the type of shit that would happen. And I had it happen to me. I remember I went to see this movie. It had Omari Hardwick in it. And was it Omari Hardwick and Sally Richardson? Yeah, I think so. I think that's who it was. I haven't seen Omari in years. I don't think I even told him about this. It was in Santa Monica, went to the theater. I can't remember. We went to get that motherfucking ticket. When I tell you, they gave us a ticket for some other movie. It was a white movie. We were like, what in the fuck? We're like, no, we want this ticket. And I think they had to reissue it. They will do that and I don't know if they still do it. They were doing it then because I don't go to the movies no more. But they will issue you a ticket for a different movie, right? Right? And you know what that means, that the movie you went to see didn't get credit for that ticket. And typically they do that. They did it with black movies. Oh my God, they be getting us coming and going. God damn, we put out a movie, we got people going to see it, and we already not getting the largest budgets. Now y'all got to steal our ticket sales too. So whenever you go to the movie, especially a black movie, make sure your ticket stub matches the movie that you paid to see every time. But this shit right here, that's very LA. This shit right here, who was that cat? This shit right here, this death. It's a comment. Check that shit out. It's a thing. If I'm smoking weed, check that out. This death. But for real, this shit right here though, for real. Online sources reported that users asked Siri to play the album Certified Lover Boy by Drake, and Siri instead played the recording. It played Not Like Us. Now, if I'm Drake, you taking money, you defaming me and taking money from me. That's a whole nother set of claims, and it crosses state lines. State line. So we talking, man, I would start spitballing this. Like I said, I'm doing RICOs, civil RICOs, but I'm also thinking about this from the point of view as a criminal, federal. I'm thinking about how many federal claims are there, because sometimes there are federal claims that also can be alleged as civil, like RICO, civil RICO. It's not a lot of them. Shit, that could be one, but in my mind, I'm gonna think like that. What else can I throw at them? Now, this is pinpoint, and I get why they are coming at it pinpoint, and they may have looked at all this. I would be surprised if they didn't and said, okay, no, we're going to go with this. But you can amend it. Once you get the files, once you get the evidence that can substantiate the claims, you can amend this and throw a whole bunch of shit. Let's motherfuckers settle. UMG took other unprecedented steps to promote the defamatory material. On May 4th, 2024, UMG removed the recording's copyright restrictions on YouTube and Twitch, thereby whitelisting the recording. On information and belief, this action was directed by Interscope Executive VP and Head of Digital Marketing, Raymond Alvarez Smickle. This whitelisting was done purposefully and with the full knowledge of UMG for the purpose of spreading the recording and its defamatory content as broadly as possible and as quickly as possible. UMG has a formal ban on whitelisting and never before whitelisted a song on any platform to the plaintiff's knowledge. In and around June 2024, UMG reinstituted the copyright restrictions on the recording. If I'm UMG, I'm about to start whitelisting some shit right now because that just doesn't look good, right? If you can maintain that this is a defamatory recording, that don't look good at all, because that says that you are changing company policy in order to promote this song. Also, and I still, now this is in a vacuum because I still have not even looked at UMG's complaint. Also, though, it shows that you're willing to change company policy, right, for certain reasons. So you can't then use that as defense and say, like, well, when Kendrick dropped it, it's our company policy not to get involved. Because it's like, no, you can't just pick and choose which company policies you go follow. You also had a company policy against whitelisting, didn't you? However, that didn't stop you from whitelisting this song that called my client a pedophile. That's how that shit would go, right? Because more than likely, whoever is testifying on behalf of UMG is now going to be called as a witness by Drake's attorneys. It'll probably be cross examination. It will be a cross examination because they would have called, UMG would call them as a witness. So then you get up and you get the opportunity to cross examine. When you cross examine, though, you don't have to ask questions as much as make conclusory statements that the witness has to agree or disagree to. You get to testify a bit more in cross because more than likely the witness is going to be not necessarily hostile, because I'm sure you've seen on television where they say permission to treat the witness as hostile, but more than likely they're not going to help you. So you get to lead a bit more. You can ask leading questions on cross. And I will be asking a lot of leading motherfucking questions on this cross. Okay, so UMG has a formal ban. The effect of whitelisting the recording was massive and immediate. Able to play the recording in full in their own videos and to profit from them, content creators rush to republish the recording in reaction videos. As just a few examples, the Cartier family, whose YouTube channel has 1.4 million subscribers, posted a video depicting the image and using the recording. I haven't heard of these dudes. I'm going to check them out. As of the date of this filing, the video has 2 million views. 2 million views. That's a nice rating. Twitch streamer No Life Shaq posted a 14.5 minute clip of his reaction to the recording on YouTube, on his YouTube channel, which has 4.7 million subscribers. Man, this joint was going. As of the date of this filing, the video has 5.3 million views. YouTuber Zaz posted 15-minute video of his reaction to the recording on YouTube. Oh, Zaz got almost 5 million subscribers. As of the date of this filing, the video has 6.6 million views. On May 5th, 2024, Twitch streamer RDC Gaming posted his reaction by depicting the image and using the recording. As of the date of this filing, the video has 4.5 million views. Twitch streamer Kasinat, I heard of him from Joe Budden podcast, posted a 20-minute video of his reaction to the recording on his YouTube channel. Oh, or is it Kai Sanat? Sorry, Kai Sanat, which has 11.6 million subscribers. The video's thumbnail depicts the image as of the date of this filing. The video has 9 million views. Man, this shit was racking up. The content creators could not legally republish the defamatory material in full or profited from their reaction videos without UMG first whitelisting the recording. On information and belief, UMG also paid influencers on Instagram and X to post content about the defamatory material for the purpose of spreading the content to larger audiences. UMG's media campaign successfully spreads the defamatory material to billions. UMG's campaign to spread the defamatory material was successful. On May 4th, 2024, the recording set a new record for the most single day streams for a rap song in the US, 13 million in 24 hours. Within the first week, the recording debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 list with 70.9 million official streams and 5 million radio airplay audience impressions. Just 1 week later, the recording broke the record for the most streamed song in a 7-day period, 96 million streams. I will say this. If I'm an artist coming to UMG, this is a case study for why I should fuck with UMG, because they are showing what they are willing to do for somebody who, one, either got a song that can be a hit, 2, an artist that they love, 3, somebody on the stature of Kendrick Lamar. And of course, I know people are saying, well, but they're doing it at the expense of somebody like Drake. I know, I get that argument. That said, this is a masterclass in what they can do with the song. And it's not just about money. Because think about this. The whitelisting thing is, you're not paying shit out. You're just saying you can use it. You can say you can use it. I hope they put a timeline, because if this went to trial, we need to see a timeline just for business purposes. I'm curious as to, okay, when do you get the bots get the music, get it going, and gets on the playlist, right? And that, because I don't think they immediately whitelisted it too. I could do the comparison, but I thought I was going to get this done in like one part. I am not. This is going to be a 4-parter. I got one more part to go. Looking at this, because there's no way I'm going to get through all this shit. I'm just not. There's no way. There's no way. And I'm not going to try to force myself, because I would be cheating y'all. And the court of public opinion is not about, oh, we got to hit the hot shit. No, I want to do deep dives into things and assist people with honing, growing, honing, or and developing critical analysis skills, because that is sorely missing in our society these days. So we need to do deeper dives on shit sometimes, and this is one. So that being said, yeah, this is a master class. I want to know, okay, so when do you use the bots, right? You're using the bots, okay. When do you switch over to whitelisting? When do you start paying the influencers? I want to know all this. When do these things happen? But as an artist looking at UMG and what they can do for you, not bad. Now, if this, what is alleged here, is true, crimes will be committed along the way. I don't know if I'm counseling an artist, I don't know how you feel about that, but this is what will be done along the way in your name. After UMG published the video, the recording returned to the number 1 spot. The number 1 spot, that's a song somewhere. Returned to the number 1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. In the week after the video's publication, the recording was streamed an additional 53.8. God damn. It was streamed an additional 53.8 million times and played on the radio an additional 40 million times. Man, that's damn near 100 million times. And it's short, of course, because 40, 53, 93 million, 93.8 million times. Sure, it'd be short 6.2 million times, but that's damn near 100. And from July 4th to August 8, 2024, the video ranked first on YouTube's weekly top music videos chart. On August 6, 2024, the video earned the MTV Music Award nomination for Song of the Year. So now it's on its own. I would say now it's on its own. You don't have to push no buttons no more. You've done all your work. It's it. It's out there. It's going. It's got a life of its own at this point. Let's see if they do more. The recording has maintained its popularity in months since. See, that's what I'm saying. Okay, on October, and the fact that we skipped to October 2nd 7th, that lets us know, like, all right, they ain't have to do no more. They accomplished their job. That's it. It's over. It's going. Boom. Okay. On October 7th, 2024, Billboard reported that the recording had reached 45.4 million in total audience impressions on radio, with 15 non-consecutive weeks in charge of the R&B/hip hop airplay list, and the recording remains a top 40 hit on New York-based stations Z100 and Power 105.1. I love how radio stations be called Power this. Power 105.1. Rolling Stone reflected that with its catchy beat and incendiary lyrics labeling Drake a pedophile, god damn, Kendrick Lamar's latest hit is inarguably that should be a tough word to say, is inarguably, but I like it. The biggest moment in music this year, and describe the vicious Drake diss as inescapable. That's real talk. Yeah, that's real talk. Pitchfork called the lyric "Certified Lover Boy, Certified Pedophiles" the defining lyric of the decade. So, I don't think they're lying. That shit's funny though. It's not funny to be called a pedophile, but damn, the defamatory material has become ubiquitous. I wonder, has anyone interviewed? This is so fucked up to say. I'm not going to say it, but I'm thinking it. The defamatory material has become ubiquitous, not just in the rap community, but in the community at large. It has been heard and or viewed nearly 6 billion times. As just a few examples of the content's broad reach, Joe Rogan in this motherfucker. Joe Rogan discussed the recording and allegations against Drake on his hugely popular podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, with 14.5 million followers on Spotify alone as of March 2024. As did NPR's podcast, Pop Culture Happy Hour. With every play, stream, listen, and view and mention, UMG has profited. Well, yes, on Joe Rogan, but he didn't necessarily stream it. It's only discussed there, so that's not necessarily money. But I get what they're saying, what was being alleged. UMG promoted the defamatory material with knowledge. Okay, now we're getting into some shit. Because let me see something. Okay, this is more direct allegations. UMG promoted the defamatory material with knowledge of or reckless disregard for its falsity, and knowledge that it was reasonably foreseeable to cause Drake harm. If these things as alleged in this complaint are true, I believe that allegation is also true. Yeah, and there's certain key legal words here. Reasonably. Well, let's start here. With knowledge of or reckless disregard. Oftentimes we have arguments with people in real life. And when I got to law school and I learned this, I was like, oh, thank God somebody fucking agrees with me. Have you ever heard you knew or you should have knew better? That's pretty much what this is. Where it's like you knew, or even if you didn't know, you didn't give a fuck. You like, well, it could be false. I don't care. I don't care. Or you don't even think about it, and you should have, given what was being said. Like, and that's really what this is. Plain. You knew or you should have knew, or you ain't give a fuck. And that was reckless, right? When you hear somebody call somebody a pedophile, you're supposed to say, wait a second, is that true? Before you engage in what has been alleged that has been engaged in here. That's fair. And it's the law. Just as UMG knew the allegations in the defamatory material were false at the time it first published the recording, image, and video, UMG knew the allegations were false throughout its months-long campaign to promote the material, which continues through the date of this complaint. That's true. UMG also promoted, I'm saying the promotion continues, at least as far as we can see, because I don't know if they mean the promotion continues in regards to what we've seen in the past, or it's some new promotion. I don't know. UMG also promoted the defamatory material with full knowledge that Drake had already suffered significant harm. And that additional harm to Drake was reasonably foreseeable. Okay, I think at this one we're talking about his friend who almost died. And I know people were like, no, he went to the hospital for 2 days. Look, you ain't never been shot. I haven't either. But let me tell y'all something about being shot. They're like, how you know about being shot if you ain't been shot? Because both my mom and daddy been shot. So I have intimate knowledge of without being shot, your mom and dad both being shot at some point lets you know. Because trust me, you know how parents are. They're going to tell you about being shot. And I don't know what was going on. They said the dude was in critical ICU for a few days. I don't know. He could have died. So that's what I'm going with. That's it. UMG's relentless promotional campaign is more egregious in light of the fact that Drake has specifically informed UMG repeatedly of the falsity of the allegations and the harm he is suffering as a result. On July 24th, 2024, Drake, via counsel, sent a letter to Universal Music Group's general counsel and head of litigation about the recording, which explained that the defamatory material falsely accused Drake of engaging in criminal acts, including sex trafficking, pedophilia, and other acts that require registering as a sex offender. The letter made clear that UMG's actions were causing Drake concrete and substantial harm, and specifically referenced the armed attack on Drake's Toronto house on May 7th, 2024. The letter demanded UMG preserve its records in the event of litigation. So what we call that as a litigation hold. You send that out when you think some people might, well, you don't even have to think that. You can use it two ways. You can send a litigation hold, which means, sorry, I just started talking. Litigation means hold these things in anticipation of litigation. So you've been put on notice that you could be destroying evidence if you shred, delete, or what have you. And you can send that out. I would say you send that out to anyone who you believe, oh, wait, one moment. You send that out to anyone you believe would destroy evidence, not necessarily on purpose. Sometimes people can destroy evidence because that's just their normal course of business to destroy records after a certain period of time. But you want to give them the opportunity to know that, hey, this is going where we may litigate this and you need to preserve the records. The letter demanded UMG preserve its records in the event litigation was necessary and costing UMG's involvement in a perpetuating a false, inflammatory, and dangerous conspiracy theory about one of its own artists is shocking and tortuous. What that means is actionable in tort law, meaning that there is an injury, right? You got contract, tort, criminal law. Those are like kind of the major things there. In law school, people tend to like tort or like contracts. And there it can be intermixing. Some can be something, you can violate a contract, that can be a tort or what have you. But anyway, that is a key word to let them know, put them on notice like, hey, this is an act that, for, I'm going to use a lay term, that we can sue your ass for. And torturous under a variety of laws of both Canada and the United States. This is the first time I think they mentioned Canada. That's a good point. They could be sued in Canada. And I'm not sure what treaties that we have that prevent someone from filing suit in the US and also filing suit in Canada. Because you could file suit here and go someplace else, depending on, whether or not there's some type of treaty of jurisprudence or what have you, go someplace else and find another place to sue, i.e. Canada. Yeah, two separate suits. Following a telephone call between counsel for the parties, they were talking about this. They putting it all out there, okay. On July 31st, 2024, UMG sent a letter to Drake's representatives in which UMG represented that it understood its preservation obligations, that's the legal hold, warned that it would be imprudent. I don't think I know that word. It's in quotes too of Drake. Let's just say imprudent of Drake to pursue these claims against UMG. On August 1st, 2024, Drake sent UMG another letter, again emphasizing the harm to Drake as well as his businesses that UMG was causing by continuing to promote the defamatory material. The letter demanded UMG issue a retraction and accept its responsibility in promoting and marketing the defamatory material. UMG's actions did not change. So basically, it's like, look, we about to do what we about to do. After receiving 2 notices from Drake about the falsity of the allegations, we about to do this. That's really what they're saying. A description of the severe harm he suffered as a result. UMG took no steps to address the matter. To the contrary, UMG continued to promote and license the defamatory material, including through numerous social media posts, boasting of the recording's success. Well, we all already did it at this point. Why should they stop talking about it? And negotiating and paying for the recording to be nominated at the 2025 Grammys and played at the Super Bowl. Now that's interesting when they say paid for the recording to be nominated. I would assume there's some type of fee associated with being nominated for a Grammy. I'm not really sure. But anyway, continuing. On August 1st, 2024, Drake sent UMG another letter, again emphasizing the harm to Drake as well as his businesses that UMG was causing by continuing to promote the defamatory material. The letter demanded UMG issue a retraction, accept its responsibility in promoting and marketing the defamatory material. I think during that point, what's happening is Drake, to me, let me get comfortable. At that point, not comfortable. It's like, I would say Drake is trying to flex, where it's like, okay, it's definitely a hit song. It can go. It's going. It done went. But I'm gonna show how powerful I am and get it to stop. Now I know it's like, yeah, but it's not that. And this is what I would imagine that Drake would say. This shit is calling me a pedophile. I don't want that out there. So if that's the case, there's a compromise. You can take out pedophile and it can still go, but I think that's what's going on. And UMG's like, no, man, we're not about to do that. And I think UMG, even though it's defamatory, at this point, I think UMG's right. They don't put all this money into this. It's going. We got an artist one of our artists is at the Super Bowl. That's it. That's it. You not at the Super Bowl. We got artists at the Super Bowl. UMG's actions did not change. After receiving 2 notices from Drake about the falsity of the allegations and a description of the severe harm he suffered as a result, UMG took no steps to address the matter. To the contrary, UMG continued to promote and license the defamatory material, including numerous social media posts boasting of the record's success and negotiating and paying for the recording to be nominated at the 2025 Grammys. Now, I would assume that you have to pay something for the Grammy nomination. I could be wrong, but I think it's probably just a fee or something like that they're referring to. Through the summer and fall, Drake attempted to resolve these claims privately with UMG without resorting to litigation. UMG's own code of conduct required corrective action on UMG's part. Well, we've seen that they will break that. Well, not code of conduct, but company policy. And if this is somehow a company policy, code of conduct, well, I consider that a policy. Yeah, it has policy implications, but whatever the case, we can, if what is alleged in this complaint is true, UMG will change some shit. So that code states that UMG is committed to a non-violent workplace and that harassment can take, nigga, what? Okay, God. I gotta read this. UMG's own code of conduct required corrective action on UMG's part. That code states that UMG is committed to a nonviolent workplace and that harassment can take many forms, such as speech that is threatening or abusive. In its workplace, UMG prioritizes avoiding abusive conduct, including verbal abuse and physical conduct that another person would find threatening or humiliating. In his introductory comments to that code, Sir Grange observes that integrity means behaving honorably and with honesty. It means setting the right tone in all that we do. We are accountable for the decisions that we make and how we conduct ourselves. Drake expected that UMG would live by its own principles in responding to the abusive conduct, threats, and violence he had experienced. Give me a fucking break. Now, without that, that's about as much bullshit as that paragraph indicating that or alleging that Kendrick Lamar was saying something about his Jewish heritage. This is a rap battle. The hell we doing? Not to mention, I know you ever have like the words about to come out, you like, they're not ready yet? Because I'm like, let's forget Drake and Kendrick Lamar. If I did chat right now, and I'm not gonna do it right now, I'm sure I could find some records on UMG that have come out that have abusive, wait, let me find it. That by their very nature, the fact that they're made, are abusive, contain verbal abuse, or otherwise promote physical conduct that another person would find threatening or humiliating. What are we talking? What? This is because if I'm in the jury, I don't want to hear this bullshit in a rap battle, in a rap beef. This dumb. Now I don't like that. Yet, after weeks of delay, UMG declined to do anything to assist Drake. You goddamn right. Including even going so far as refusing to agree to mediate with Drake. They said, that is really, I will say this now, if I'm Drake, that's like, First off, this is like universal to me is what they say. First off, fuck you. First off. And the horse you rode in. That's too old school. Fuck you and the Bentley you're driving. First off. Second off, we ain't mediating shit. It's home. You lost, nigga. That's it. They said, he tried to mediate. He tried to piece it up. That's what we talking about. So wait, if for those who don't know what mediation is, you can have binding mediation, non-binding mediation. In binding mediation, is almost like, well, can you have, let me check. Can you have binding mediation? Because that would mean that the mediator decides. Can you have binding? Because I'm used to binding arbitration. There's an arbiter and they make a decision. So you can have binding, non-binding arbitration. Non-binding arbitration means that you can still go to court. You don't have to abide by the judgment. Binding arbitration means whatever the arbitrator decides, that's it. And it typically, binding arbitration, depending on who you do it through, that determines the rules. But the way that they choose arbitrators is that you're given a list and you each X out who you don't want. You try to match it up and choose an arbiter. The discovery rules are a little lax. Things move faster in arbitration. And I like arbitration a lot. Arbitration is my shit. And you can use independent, like if you're doing labor arbitrations, which this may or may not be, you can use the National Labor Board. reviews, and they typically have cases for everything, so you can use those to show an example of how things were enforced. You also have the Merit Protection Board. I don't remember because I did something with them before. But no, can you have binding mediation? Let's see. No. Mediation is not legally binding. So damn, they could have just, man, wait a second. They didn't even, so it's not even binding. They could have just talked to you. They said, nah, we good. We good. Instead, UMG insisted that it bore no responsibility for the harm Drake had suffered, and represented that if Drake sued UMG would respond by bringing claims against. Wait, whoa, hold up. Wait, UMG instead insisted that it bore no responsibility for the harm Drake had suffered, and represented that if Drake sued UMG, UMG would respond by bringing claims against Kendrick Lamar, and intimated that Drake would face public ridicule for the perception that he had sued another rapper. God damn. Hold up. Wait a second. UMG. I get that other part. Kendrick, K-Dot. If these motherfuckers said to Drake, we would sue you, if it is true that you signed with them, right? If that's true, you signed with them to give them the opportunity to prove themselves. And they said to Drake, if you sue us, we're going to sue Kendrick. That suggests to me that they think Drake cares more about you than they do. Interesting. That's what that says to me. Because why would Drake, and I know there's like, and then you go get ridiculed for suing a rapper. No, we wouldn't think that. Oh, would we, if UMG, no, we gonna think UMG is suing him, trying to get money from Kendrick. We not gonna think Drake is doing that. But whatever the case, if y'all gonna stand behind Kendrick, stand behind you. Y'all can't be like, oh yeah, it's a rap battle, it's a beef, it's artist integrity and all that. It's like, oh, if he sues us, we go sue you. What kind of shit is that? So everything that I said about, oh, if I'm an artist and I'm like, yeah, UMG, you see what they willing to do this, and this. That basically negates all that. Even the part about that shit, they committing crime. That negates all that, because what if this is true, what if it goes down where it's like, okay, it's some crimes. Who you think gonna end up being the fall person for that? The artist. If that's the case, if this is true, if this is how they're acting, and they're saying we go sue Kendrick because we know you gonna get blamed for it, nigga, what? Y'all should be supporting Kendrick. Y'all shouldn't be saying we go sue Kendrick because we know you gonna get blamed for it. Cause see, now we back to the y'all really just about the money. That's really what this y'all justice is about. And now I'm getting the impression, based on paragraph 60, y'all trying to pit two black boys against each other so y'all can make money. If this is true, that's what I take from this. And this is the same shit that we saw with Biggie and Tupac. And that's the thing when it comes to this whole Drake thing, where people are like not making a big deal about his security guard getting shot. Because if Drake would have got shot and killed, then everybody's gonna run around all sad and shit. Like, oh, it's fucked up. It's just like Tupac and Biggie. I thought we was past this and all this type of shit. But we looking at something right here. That is an important allegation. I don't know if is it actionable. If you sue us, we go sue him and you'll get ridiculed. It's not extortion. It's just leverage. And it's fucked up, right? Because if you really don't believe Kendrick did nothing, and that's the shit that you saying, wow. Wow. That's Damn. And I don't know who said this. I'm curious to know. At no point during any of these discussions did UMG ever suggest that it believed the allegations against Drake to be truthful or accurate. As of the date of this filing, UMG continues to promote and license the defamatory material, notwithstanding its plain knowledge of both the falsity and concrete harm to Drake. Now, don't get me wrong. I do need to say this. Drake didn't let that shit stop him from suing. I think because Drake knew he would get ridiculed for suing UMG, because this complaint is fucking hilarious in a number of places. It doesn't mean that he can't prevail and obtain an ignorant amount of damages. I'm not saying that, but it's still, there's so many parts in here that it's like a fucking novel. It's sad, it's hilarious. There's a lot going on here, but it didn't stop him from suing. If I'm Drake, it's like, if you want to sue Kendrick, y'all sue Kendrick. But that's not on me. That's on y'all. And I like that he did not sue Kendrick, because he's not doing their work for them. It's like, if y'all want to get what we call indemnification, and probably in Kendrick's contract, there may be a clause for indemnification where if you do some shit, and I'm saying it plain. If you do some shit and we ain't got nothing, if you do some shit and we ain't got nothing to do with it and it comes back on us, you got to reimburse us for whoever we got to pay for the shit that you did. That's really what it is. And so it's like, yeah, but they was promoting and all that. Yeah, but the initial statement of Drake being a pedophile would be you did some shit. So at no point, wait. Let me get back to this part, because I think it was number 60, right? Okay, yeah. At no point during any of these discussions did UMG, wait, I got water in my hand. Let me drink it. At no point during any of these discussions did UMG ever suggest that it believed the allegations against Drake to be truthful or accurate. As of the date of this filing, UMG continues to promote and license the defamatory material, notwithstanding its plain knowledge of both the falsity and concrete harm to Drake. As of the date of this filing, UMG has not retracted any of the defamatory material or issued any statements declaiming the veracity of the defamatory material or apologizing to Drake for the harm it has caused. UMG's actions are motivated, at least in part, by UMG's desire to best position itself in negotiations with Kendrick Lamar in 2024 and Drake in 2025. So I get, that's almost saying that y'all think like, oh, we're going to get Kendrick in 2024 with this shit, minus we just go sue Kendrick. And then we'll make shit right with Drake in 2025. With respect to Lamar, on information and belief, UMG was incentivized to prove that it could maximize Lamar's sales by any means necessary after only being able to get him to sign a short-term exclusive contract. UMG wanted Lamar to see its value on an expedited time frame in order to convince Lamar to re-sign exclusively for a longer period of time. As to Drake in 2024, his contract was nearing fulfillment. On information and belief, UMG anticipated that extending Drake's contract would come at high cost to UMG. As such, it was incentivized to devalue Drake's music and brand in order to gain leverage in negotiations for an extension. Basically, we go knock your ass down, pay you a little bit, build you back up. UMG's actions were also motivated by its executive incentive structure. That's interesting. Which rewards Interscope executives like Mr. Yannick for surpassing their division's annual projections, even if its success has detrimental effect on an artist from another division, like Drake from Republic or UMG overall. On information and belief, Yannick was further motivated to surpass Interscope's 2024 annual growth goals at the expense of Republic and Drake to position himself to be named as Sir Grange's successor, a position for which Mr. Monty Littman of Republic is also being considered. Oh, shit. And I guess, So we got two battles going on. Now, I don't know if this is Drake put Littman out there or just stating the obvious that everybody knows this, yeah. This is court of public opinion interesting. I don't know to what extent this is actionable, in that we may be talking about unfair business practices, and there's a whole tree of allegations to figure out in regards, claims to figure out in regards to that. But I don't know. But what I can say is this. When you think you know how some shit is going to go and then it don't go that way, I didn't expect that line about Kendrick. I didn't expect this last thing about Monty Lipman and Yannick, Mr. Yannick. I didn't expect that. This is definitely, I expected this, honestly, I really expected to finish this in one go. This is a 4-part joint, and I'm going to stop here and just say, damn. I didn't, and even like the mediation with Drake, refusing to do mediation and saying that we will sue Kendrick. Whoa. Because the mediation cost you nothing, to be honest. I think they should have did the mediation, even if you're not going to agree with anything. Just, all right, whatever to pacify him, so it doesn't get to this point, because then other things start coming out, and including the bots and, and all this shit. So, all right. Yeah, I am looking forward to the final part. So far, there have been some really good parts in this gameplay. I hope you were able to learn and I hope you were able to learn and glean a lot from the discussion. Wait, is it glean or gloom? Is it gleam? I think it's gleam. Or gleam. I think it's gleam. Is it gleam and gleam? Come on now. It depends on what you mean. Gleam, to shine or glow. Glean, to collect. It's glean. So I hope you were able to glean a lot from this discussion, and that I've given you some gems, some tools, some wisdom that you can use in your own life, that you can use in our fight for what's right against all these oppressive ass systems, racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, classism, you name it. So I will be back here soon. Thank you for listening. Be sure, I gotta say all the other shit I'll be forgetting to say. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, all of that. Peace.